Eddie Hearn is back at it again, y'all. Now Eddie Hearn is saying that Roy Jones Jr. is pretty much a trash trainer and he ruined Chris Eubank's career. Now, before we get into everything that Eddie Hearn had to say, make sure that you hit my like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber to the channel, and don't forget to hit the bell icon so you get all of the notifications when I drop these videos. Now, we all know that Chris Eubank Jr., he got knocked out for the first time in his career last weekend. Last weekend, he got knocked out by Liam Smith. And he got hurt bad, and he was knocked out cold on his feet. He did go down, then he got back up, and he was knocked out cold on his feet, and he didn't even know where he was. Chris Eubank, he really didn't show no type of punch resistance. Because Liam Smith is not looked at as a big puncher. Now, Chris Eubank is 33 years old, so he probably ain't in his prime no more, or he's just leaving out of the prime of his career. We know that Chris Eubank, he's been trained by Roy Jones Jr., I say probably for maybe the last 3 years. When I look at Chris Eubank, Roy Jones has transformed Chris Eubank from a different fighter than what he used to be. Chris Eubank used to be a knockout artist, come forward, and just the way that he fights now is a lot different than the way that Chris Eubank used to fight back before he got with Roy Jones. So a lot of people saying that, hey, Chris Eubank, he looked like he trying to fight like Roy Jones. I was one of the first ones that was on record saying, hey man, Chris Eubank, he trying to emulate and do everything that Roy Jones does. So you can tell that Roy Jones is training him. And Roy Jones is my GOAT as a fighter. He my all-time GOAT as a fighter. But one thing I know about Roy Jones, almost all of his fighters that I've seen him train, even way back when he used to help train Derek Smoke Gainer, all of the fighters that he used to train or help train, I noticed that he tries to train them to do the same things that he did in the ring. Triple, double, quadruple left hook, fight with their hands down and using the reflexes and all of that. And I've always been on record saying that Roy gotta stop doing that, because all of these fighters that he's training, none of the fighters that he's ever trained, they don't have the God-gifted talent and the reflexes and the speed and everything that he had. Roy has to understand that he had a 1 in every 100-year type of talent that come along, and we don't see that often. So you can't train those type of things that Roy Jones does. You can't train a person to do those things, because Roy Jones, he actually was able to get away with a lot of things that he did wrong in the ring. Yeah, Roy did a lot of things that a boxing trainer would never teach you, but he was able to get away with it because he was that God gifted. He was super fast, super athletic, had power in both hands, had speed, quickness, everything. So you can't teach what Roy Jones Jr. had. With that being said, Eddie Hearn, he pretty much feels the same way, but he feels that ever since Roy Jones started training Chris, that he pretty much ruined Chris Eubank Jr.'s career. He's saying that Chris Eubank was a much better fighter before he got with Roy Jones. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and read you guys some of the things that Eddie Hearn had to say about Roy Jones training Chris Eubank. So this is what Eddie Hearn had to say. He says, I saw what we knew, which is Liam Smith is very good, very composed, and another guy who is completely lost in his boxing. Technically, Eubank has never been great, but what he's always had is a fearless mentality, a great chin, and a great engine. What he's done with Roy Jones is completely take those assets away. So he's telling you, all of the assets that Chris Eubank had before he got with Roy Jones, now that he got with Roy Jones somehow took all of Chris Eubank's assets that he had away from him. And like I said, it's because Roy Jones trains fighters to fight like he did in the ring, and you can't fight like Roy Jones did. Now, I gotta admit, this is one of the rare occasions that I can somewhat agree with Eddie Hearn. Chris Eubank, he was much better before he got with Roy Jones. Well, it looked like he was much better before he got with Roy Jones. You know, Chris Eubank looked like he had better fundamental skills before he got with Roy Jones. Now he's trying to fight like Roy Jones did, and he doesn't have the reflexes. He don't have the athletic ability and all of that to fight like Roy Jones did. Now, Chris Eubank, he is athletic and he does have the speed and stuff, but Roy Jones was just on a whole nother level. And before, when Chris Eubank was trained by his father, you know, that relationship, it didn't go well, you know, the training relationship with his father, because his father is just a weirdo. His father is very overbearing. So I knew that relationship, as far as the father-son trainer combination, I knew that wasn't going to last long. Now, with all that being said, let's get into Roy Jones Jr.'s response to Eddie Hearn. Now, Roy Jones Jr., he came back with a response. Roy Jones was kind of being sarcastic. Now, this is what Roy Jones says. He says, warning, all boxers, avoid Roy Jones Jr. as a trainer. Never mind this elbow, just avoid him. And I'll get into what the elbow is about, because I didn't even get into that, but I'm going to tell y'all what he's talking about the elbow. Never mind this elbow, just avoid him. Damn, if I can take all that away from a fighter via training, no wonder I raised so much hell in my day. That almost sounds like godly qualities, and I'm nowhere near what God is. Now, y'all see what I'm talking about? He's talking about what he did in his day. But you cannot train fighters, Roy, to do the same things that you did, because you had a God-gifted talent that these other fighters don't have, you know? And Roy Jones as a trainer, he's not a great trainer. You can't even think of one fighter that Roy Jones has trained that's went on to be like a world champion. You can't. But like I said, I love Roy Jones as a person and as a fighter when he was a fighter. But hey, nah, you ain't it as a trainer, and that's just my personal feelings about it. You got to stop training fighters to try to do what you did. Now, with all that being said, I'm going to let y'all know what's going on with the elbow that Chris Eubank Jr. and his team, Roy Jones Jr., is saying that he got hit with before the punch. Now, this is from some news that came out today. It says, Chris Eubank Jr. team are looking at possibly making an official appeal to the BBB over the Liam Smith defeat. Promoter Callie Sunderland has revealed the allegations is that Liam Smith landed an illegal elbow in the combination, which led to the first knockdown. And so they trying to get an appeal saying that Liam Smith hit him with an illegal elbow. I don't know. I have to go back and watch the fight, because I don't remember seeing an illegal elbow, but I don't know. We're going to have to see. But I mean, yeah, man, it ain't looking too good for Roy Jones as a trainer. And like I said, maybe Roy Jones just needs to switch some things up as a trainer and realize that these guys can't do what he does. But it's not looking too good for Chris Eubank in his career. A lot of people are already saying, you know how boxing fans do and boxing media do, they're already saying that Chris Eubank, he don't have no punch resistance and he need to hang up the gloves. Anyway, y'all let me know what y'all think. Do y'all think that Roy Jones is a good trainer? Do y'all think that Roy Jones needs to go ahead and just stick to commentating and other things like that? And what do y'all think about Chris Eubank? Do y'all believe that Chris Eubank can go on to have a real good career, or do y'all think it's pretty much done for Chris Eubank? Drop a comment in the comment section, hit my like button, and y'all already know how I do. There you go, talking that boxing again. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you're not already a sub. I'm gone.